he had a grudge to bear against this kid, and he started manufacturing like the knife. Well, the knife had nothing to do with.
Knife was tested, had nothing to do with
but
anything.
it was actually presented as evidence.
It was a knife like this, and you're displaying a knife to the jury. I mean,
what I don't understand, if I was the judge, I'd have been like, what the fuck does that have to do with anything?
Yeah,
well, exactly. I challenge you to find a group of boys in Arkansas, teenagers that don't have a knife.
Yeah. You know, if I was the judge, I'd have been like, hold on, did you just tell me and the jury that a knife was used on the boys, and then here is also a knife, but not the knife.
Yeah. Right.
Just
That's exactly
knife.
what they did.
That's fucking stupid. That's some of the most ridiculous shit.
So while this court case is going on, and I don't know what the truth is about this, they searched the lake behind Damien Eccles' neighborhood.
Okay.
And they found a knife in the lake. Tested it, still didn't find anything.
Another knife. Because people don't lose knives when they're out fishing or anything, ever.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen.
Well, and I mean, we don't know how long that knife had been in there.
I've got a couple of knives in my purse now.
Yeah,
I've still never killed anybody.
There's one on that chest, there's one over by the door, there's one over there. I mean,
but supposedly, they presented this as, this must be the knife.
Yeah.
And Damien threw it in the lake trying to get rid of it.
Yeah, and
had no evidence that this was the knife.
No evidence at all. It wasn't the knife. They don't know if it was Damien's knife. They didn't get any prints. They didn't get any blood. It was just a fucking knife that they happened to find.
Yeah.
Jesus.
I mean, there were so many miscarriages of justice throughout the investigation.
This is interesting.
Hold on. Who was the medical examiner? Because it was that same fucking guy.
No, it wasn't.
No, he was gone by then.
Okay,
okay.
This is interesting.
He didn't miss it by much.
He probably consulted on it.
Early in the investigation, the West Memphis Police Department briefly regarded two teenagers as suspects, Chris Morgan and Brian Holland. They both had serious drug offense histories and had abruptly left town 4 days after the bodies were discovered.
That's not suspicious at all.
They were presumed to be at least casually familiar with all three boys because Morgan had driven an ice cream truck that frequented that neighborhood.
Yeah.
So that right there shows a lot more of a connection than this fucking kid who's emo.
There were so many avenues that this case could have gone in that were ignored.
So the police in Oceanside, California picked those guys up on May 17th, 1993. They took polygraph exams administered by the California police. Both men indicated deceptions when they denied involvements in the murders. In questioning, Morgan claimed a long history of drug and alcohol abuse. He also had blackouts and memory lapses. He said he might have killed the victims, but quickly recanted.
Wow.
How does that work?
But we stuck with Miss Kelly's confession.
Then they sent blood and urine samples from...
No, hold on. I want to... How does that work? Did you kill this kid? Well, I might have.
No,
surely not. I mean...
But just wait. So... they got blood and urine samples from them and sent them to the West Memphis PD, but there's no indication that West Memphis PD ever investigated those samples or followed up. Because
and they did because they didn't need to because they already had their
because they had
people.
They had their perpetrators that they wanted.
They had their mind made up as what it was.
Well, and not only that. Okay, beyond those two,
that Mr. Bojangles guy.
The night that they disappeared, the manager of Bojangles Chicken.
That actually used to be a really good chicken place.
Yeah, no. Like I said, West Memphis had kind of popped up along the freeway, and so this neighborhood was here, and there was a field between it and the freeway. Well, at that next exit ramp or whatever was a truck wash place and Bojangles Chicken, etc. Right. So I mean, we're talking close proximity to the neighborhood.
Right.
Manager of Bojangles calls the police and reports a black male that entered the restaurant.
Okay.
Acting very strange.
He was disoriented. He was disoriented and covered in blood. He bled all over the walls.
And went into the bathroom.
One would think that would have been a pretty fucking good lead.
Well, and he went into the bathroom.
This is the same night that the kids were...
Yes, and it was while they were looking for them.
It's while they were looking for them.
Oh.
Yeah. And went into the bathroom, left mud and blood all over the bathroom.
Okay.
called the police, and apparently it was hours before they even showed up.
Yeah.
And when they showed up,
yeah.
the best part, they didn't come inside. They drove up to the drive-through window and took their evidence through that. So they never
and
came
said,
in.
Is the guy still here? No, he left, and then they drove off.
Well, all
So
right,
they didn't come in and look at the blood.
Well, and the evidence is absolutely useless at that point because who collected it? The fucking Bojangles staff?
Well,
There
and there was
probably
no
wasn't
evidence.
any collected.
But later on, when the bodies were found and they were, there was a sheet wrapped around one victim, and it had a black hair.
Yeah, it had a hair consistent
with an African American man.
Wasn't there sperm found on one of the boys' underwear?
I believe so. Yes.
They probably never tested it. Or
No, why would you? When you've already got your
suspect.
The
Yeah,
guy,
you're a
the manager gave them. The black man had left a pair of sunglasses, and this was the day after the victims' bodies were found. They finally went back to Bojangles.
The next day.
So like what, 36 hours later, they went back and collected some mud and blood samples, and he gave them some sunglasses that he thought the guy left behind.
Yeah.
My God. So
that's just I mean,
that's in the first 72 hours of this case. All this happened.
That ball was dropped.
Yeah. I mean, it was crazy.
I mean, they really fucked the puppy on that whole just the investigation.
Oh yeah, no, yeah.
I mean, not to mention any of the other stuff.
Oh yeah, and then their whole reason for thinking that the case had cultish overtones was what they said was the ritualistic marks on the kids,
which turned out to be
bullshit.
bullshit.
It was nothing. It was turtle marks and shit.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So I mean, they went in with that was the whole reason that narrative was so important was because of those marks.
Yeah.
Which turned out to be nothing.
Turned out to be false, but I mean, this thought
we'd already
persisted for months.
And so what? They're like, no, we like this, and we're committing to it.
Yeah,
that's our story, and we're sticking to it.
Instead of saying, hey, we have better evidence now, so our original assessment was inaccurate, and here's what we think now.
They don't want to be saying, oh, we were wrong. It wasn't these boys. It may be this other guy. They're not going to admit to that.
That would have been so easy to fix right then.
The other thing too is,
hey, look, we got this other evidence. We don't believe it's them. They're no longer persons of interest. We're releasing them. Hey, we're sorry for the inconvenience. Have a nice afternoon or whatever.
The other thing too is there were so many just bizarre things that happened during this case. It just blows your mind.
Jesse Miss Kelly's IQ was 72.
Ooh.
Oh yeah,
Forrest Gump's was 75.
Yeah.
So that's borderline intellectual functioning.
Yes.
Oh my God.
And he was a minor.
Mm-hmm. And nobody was present. Yeah. His family was not present.
So then technically his testimony wasn't
actually
admissible.
his confession was ruled inadmissible, but
the jury had already heard it.
They had already, and the prosecutor kept mentioning it.
And right then the judge should have warned him and been like, "I'm going to hold you in contempt if you fucking mention that again."
Okay.
The officer mentioned it. It wasn't ever stricken.
Okay,
from the
this is sad. I knew it was bad, but I didn't realize it was this bad. Miss Kelly was questioned for roughly 12 hours. Okay. Right. His dad never gave permission. Out of that 12 hours, only 2 segments totaling 46 minutes were recorded.
Oh, that's bullshit. That means that the other 11 hours
could have been anything.
Coaching.
Yeah.
Now, how old was he? Because I know they were 16, 17, and 18, but I don't know
he was
which
either
was
16 or 17.
Yeah, he was...
I thought he was 16, but I don't know.
Jason was the baby of the group.
Yeah, Jason was the youngest. Then...
I'm trying to see.
Then
I think Eccles was the oldest. Miss Kelly.
Yeah.
I'm not sure about that. But
if he was a minor, he had to be 16 or 17. So
I mean, his status as a minor, he was questioned alone. His parents were not present.
All of which is
Miss Kelly's father gave him permission to go to the police, but did not give permission for his son to be questioned or interrogated.
See, I don't understand why the defense attorney didn't raise holy hell when that was admitted.
Miss Kelly quickly recanted his confession, citing intimidation, coercion, fatigue, veiled threats from police. He specifically said that he was scared of the police during his confession.
Was he questioned without a lawyer? He was questioned without a lawyer.
Absolutely. It was just him. No parents, no lawyer.
Well, he probably didn't know to ask for one.
I know at the beginning they said, there's like $30,000 reward for any information. So if you give us this information,
you'll get the
then
reward.
Your family could get this
And they
money.
were cripplingly poor. His dad was disabled.
Right.
You know, and he said he was informed of his Miranda rights, but he didn't understand them. I mean, I guess so. He had a 72 IQ. Portions of his statement were leaked to the press and reported on the front page before the trials.
And they didn't. I mean, they moved the trial to Jonesboro, but
that's like 15 miles away.
It's more than 15,
but
it's
still
not by fucking much. It's not like they moved it to Los Angeles.
No.
See,
Rock even.
Man, I dare say that a half-assed decent defense attorney could have wore that
they didn't
prosecutor out.
These kids couldn't afford defense attorneys. They had public defenders.
Even a decent public defender, which I know that's kind of an oxymoron.
The problem was,
but
everyone involved on the other side stonewalled them at every chance they got.
See, but that's the thing. You don't get to do that.
Well, they did.
And that should have been
and
enough
still
cause.
hasn't been called on it.
That should have been enough cause for a fucking mistrial. And I'm not a lawyer, but I do have access to the internet. Well, they didn't have that back then. But still,
I'm telling you, all the people involved did not help themselves in this. For instance, when it came out that they thought the boys had teeth marks, human bite marks, on them. Byers, I guess he's the stepfather, went and had all his teeth pulled.
That's not weird at all.
And claimed it was for some sort of medical something or other.
That's something that a rational person does.
Yeah.
I mean, there were such crazy things that happened. Like I said, the knife thing was brought into question. So then we manufacture a reason to go search this lake behind Damien Eccles' house, and we find another knife. Yet still not the knife.
Yeah, no, I don't understand that. We found this knife and we found this knife. Are those the knives that were used?
Well, we don't know.
Well, no. So you just brought two random fucking knives into the courtroom and you want to admit them as evidence? No.
Yeah, because the boys had, which I think were like turtle scratches from the turtles.
Yeah.
And they said it was caused from a serrated blade. So they'd bring
those
these
don't
knives
even look
in,
the same.
And they would say, see the serrated blade?
Yeah.
A knife like this
caused those wounds, yeah.
Yeah.
But you know how people are. They see this expert up here talking about this knife. That must be the knife.
There is so much dumbassery that went
unbelievably.
On. Man, I'll tell you what, and like I've said...
And if you have a knife and you're going to use it on someone, are you going to scrape the edge?
Not usually. Not
on their skin? Is that how you're going to use it?
I mean, man, if I had a time machine... There's a lot of things that I would do, but one of the top 10 things would
I'd like to unfuck this case, yeah.
Yeah, go back and not only unfuck it, but unfuck it with malice. I would make that judge look like an asshole, I would make that fucking prosecutor look like an asshole, and I would make that fucking sheriff look like an asshole.
Well, the part that's always broken my heart, I mean, obviously, these guys, they served, 25 years?
94 to...
It was 2016, wasn't it, when they got out? 2015, something like that.
Yeah.
So, like, 21 years?
Yeah. So they served roughly over 20 years.
They served a lifetime.
Yeah. And, so their lives have been so impacted. They had to deal with that. I mean, Damien, I once visited where Damien was kept because it's part of my job.
He was at Tucker, was he not?
He was in Supermax.
Where's that?
Varner.
Oh, okay.
And he was specifically in the death row.
Because he was the only one that was sentenced to death.
He was sentenced to death.
Yeah.
And, the area he was kept in, he's extremely intelligent. I honestly don't know how he didn't go absolutely raving mad. Because he was just kept in this box. He never got... It just makes me sick, just the thought. And then... Not only that, but these kids nobody paid for what happened to them.
No.
Whoever did it is still walking around snickering because they got away with killing these 3 little boys. And that makes me sick. One of the mothers has already died. Mm-hmm. Never got justice. So being so committed to this story prevented any kind of closure from the families. Mm-hmm. It's really sad.